It's Chef Tony P and Dude Lifts, and we're proud to present Ink Tank number 10. What's good, Lifts?
It's your boy. How's it going, man?
I need to get that on my soundboard.
How's it
And
going, man?
not only are we live in Spaces, we are live on YouTube live stream. If you send me that link somewhere, I'll cook up a tweet.
I'm tweeting it right now. So I am.
You tweet it, then I'll retweet it.
Tweet it, then retweet it. That's what we're talking about. That's how we roll. Tony, how's your weekend, man?
My weekend was pretty good. I guess it was more like a staycation weekend. You know, I didn't like go do a whole lot. I got a lot done around the house. You know, just building up the new crib, you know, building furniture and stuff. We have a Bengal cat, and we got her a cat wheel. So imagine like if a Ferris wheel and a treadmill had a baby, but it was made for cats. So it's like carpet on the inside, and she just she really likes it.
That is awesome. That is so awesome.
And to be fair, like, you know, she's a little rambunctious, you know what I mean? They're like little jungle cats, you know? And she just all throughout the day uses this damn thing. It's almost like a litter box. You know, there's something innate about, you know, inside of cats.
She just knows.
She just knew how to use it, right? You know, it would just be like, you know, hopping on a bike, hopping on a skateboard. She just knew how to shred it. So I think she's vibing. I'm assuming slowly, but yes, slowly but surely, I probably have like fucking tunnels on the walls and stuff. Like, you know, it's like once you bite off,
you're gonna have like a cat heaven or something.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be something crazy like that.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
Did you get this link up for the YouTube live stream yet?
Dude, I am working on it. I've had the literal toughest time just getting this picture, so hang tight.
That's fine. But I guess not to, you know, I guess we could just cut into the secret sauce.
Let's cut into the secret sauce.
Yeah, so one of our community members, one of our very valuable community members by the name of Frosty, found out some pretty dope alpha today from none other than Complex. I guess he was just looking, you know, just following them on Twitter, and they tweeted out this thing that I pinned up to the top, which is the announcement for ComplexCon 2023. And look who's smack dab in the middle on the second row.
Look who it is.
None other than the Pastel Cartel, Doodles. So that was pretty neat. We do love, you know, here at TGID to find those like little leaks out, the Easter eggs. We do like to front run the opportunity. We're definitely pro opportunity, as Patron would say.
Purveyors of front running.
Yeah. So that was a pretty cool one. I guess like TLDR on Complex. I did see some people that said they were unaware of what Complex is. Complex is like a hip hop streetwear, you know, like news culture brand. I mean, they make like a ton of like YouTube content, and they've been doing this conference now for, I mean, probably like what, 4 or 5 years or something.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure how long it's been going on. It hasn't been like a decade, to my understanding.
No, it definitely hasn't been a decade. Dude, I got tired of trying to download the picture. My thing was rugging me. Oh, Santiago says no good sound on YouTube. Okay, I think it's okay now. I think we're good. But yeah, so yeah, Complex. I think Digital was saying like 2016, 2015, something like that. Might have been when it started. But then
I think wasn't Complex an offshoot of Vice?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. That's a great question.
But essentially, like, I guess maybe the simplest way to put it, you know, like how MTV used to be like, oh, the culture, you know, like skateboarding and, you know, like all this like fringe, you know, like hype stuff. Complex kind of did that, but then on the internet. And I think they've definitely become, you know, synonymous with like, you know, sneakerheads, streetwear, all that jazz. So it is interesting. Not like you noticed, Doodles isn't the only Web3 brand on there. We also see Artifact. But
Yeah.
other than that, I mean, all other Web2 brands. Obviously, we see Crocs. So if I had to guess, they're probably going to have Crocs there. I'm not sure. And then, I mean, what are some other notable brands?
Well, yeah, so Artifact was there, and it's so funny. Like I was mentioning to my wife earlier today, I was like, "Hey, Doodles gonna be at this event." I was like, "Oh, you know that YouTube series that I showed you, where people like famous people go shopping for sneakers?" I was like, "That's Complex," and she's like, "Oh, okay." Like that was a pretty good point of reference.
And let me see. I'm trying to see if I know any more stuff about it. Oh yeah, and like Hot Ones is an offshoot of Complex. So if anybody's seen Hot Ones on YouTube,
First We Feast.
yeah,
Really, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah, it was first produced. First We Feast in Complex Media.
Oh, damn, that's sick. That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, it's going to be
So yeah,
really.
they have some really good creators.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm gonna make a best effort to go. I think the following weekend is like Thanksgiving, so gotta sort that out. But I mean it really is like that. Like I imagine Complex Con is like a big, cultural moment, that happens every year. And so, I mean, Doodles has shown up at all of these moments that they said they were going to show up, which I think is awesome.
I mean it's decent. I mean, obviously there's like a lot of shoe brands on here. I mean, what's that one? Do you know how to pronounce that? Saucony?
Oh, like I always said Saucony, but it could be wrong.
Yeah, it's like a running shoe brand. So I don't know. I mean,
we know that Gorp Core is in right now. So Saucony is all about that life.
Gorp Core?
Yeah, Gorp Core, bro.
What is that?
So I guess Gorp is an old school term for granola. I think it stands for like granola something. I think it's actually like a recipe for granola. Maybe it's like something grains, oats, raisins, peanuts, or something like that. It's an old recipe for granola, very earthy, crunchy. And so right now, like Gorp Core, think REI. REI plus streetwear equals Gorp Core, and it's in right now. People are wearing.
Okay. Wait. So you're saying
zip
like
off
this
pants,
as like a style trend?
Yes, style.
So
trend.
People are dressing in camping clothes mixed with high fashion shoes.
Camping clothes has become high fashion, is what I'm saying. We're talking about zip off pants. We're talking about ripstop rain jackets. We're talking. I mean, everyone makes fun of Moonbirds for throwing down the Cotopaxi fanny pack, but turns out they front ran Gorp Core by like 8 months. So they were all about it.
Okay, so could we maybe like, all right, so Gorp Core. I just think the word core is throwing me off. You know what I mean?
It's like nerd core, dad core, all these
core. Okay, could we use a different word besides core?
I mean, I'm not the one who made up the term. I can't change the terminology. I mean, it is what it is.
Oh, but I'm just saying, like, we're definitely going to get down a very dark.
You're like saying like it's like soft core. Is that what you're like relating it to?
I mean, okay, all right. Now he's catching up with us. No. More so, I'm just thinking like.
I think it takes a term.
Would you be like, oh, that's like 80s style, like
I think it takes a
camping style.
I think it takes a page from like music, right? Where you have like mathcore, hardcore, like all this kind of stuff. Like,
but what I'm saying is, if you're talking about genres, there's like hip hop, country, dubstep. You know what I mean? Like, why does this one have to be?
It's not the only fashion trend that uses the word core. So I don't know if we're going to fundamentally shift the lexicon of high fashion on our Twitter spaces, X spaces.
That's fine.
Right now.
Yeah. All right. I guess before we get into something,
what you need to take away from this is like, so I was in Boy Scouts in like 2006. The stuff that we were rocking unironically in Boy Scouts in 2006 is high fashion today. That's what you need to take away.
All right, so we're doing green zip offs and khaki button downs.
Yeah, well, the khaki.
Are we wearing patches on our clothes, or has it not gotten that far?
Patches are in 100%.
Patches are in.
So that's where we are.
I guess I haven't been in the fashion scene. I haven't been keeping up with it.
Dude, we got to get you up to speed before Complex Con.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm gonna need a new fit. wardrobe. It sounds like.
Yeah, all you need is a pair of Doodles Crocs. That's all you need.
Never.
My heart.
So let's go ahead and just like let everybody know. We could just reset the room really quick.
Let's do it
really quick. This is Ink Tank number 10. It's a community-led Twitter space, so anybody and everyone is encouraged to join the conversation if you'd like to. Frosty, I don't know if you were here when I announced it, but we did give you cred for finding out this ComplexCon alpha. So I wouldn't do you like that. And I think that you also gave him flowers in your tweet as well.
A little hat tip. You know,
so very admirable.
Yeah,
we got people all over undercover.
It's a good catch. Good catch.
So, you did mention something. You mentioned Proof, talking about fanny packs. And I've also seen a lot of stuff on the timeline today, in particular, because there were some cuts in the Proof ecosystem.
Dude, rough day for Proof.
Yeah. I guess let's go through the memes first, and then we can get more to the cut, right?
It's already memed.
Well, no, I mean, the idea is
time.
how much did they raise from minting at 2 ETH for Moonbirds? What was like $50 million?
Maybe.
And then the whole thing was Kevin Rose was like, oh, we got fucking 70 years of runway. He said some
20 years of runway or something. Yeah.
Yeah, some god awful thing like that. And then what? How long ago did Moonbirds mint? Like a year ago?
Maybe. Yeah.
Let me look up on OpenSea so I know.
While you're checking the stats, this was super interesting to me because I don't pretend to know what it's like to run, a company outside of a sole proprietorship, at all. But it is really interesting. Like I was just looking at some of the people who got let go, and they seem to be like in key positions, right? There's like senior smart contract engineer, like head of product. And they said they kept 22 people on, and a part of me was like, who's left? That's kind of interesting to me. I'm like, what? And I don't know, the part that kind of stinks a little bit to me, just kind of has a bad smell to it, because I've seen this happen with other projects as well, is the post mint layoff. And it just doesn't feel right. And I know Mythics wasn't like a drop, if that makes sense, in the sense of like it's dropping and it's minting out and everything like that. It wasn't like super hype driven. But some of the people who got laid off, were saying something to the effect of, oh, like I did some great work on Mythics. And so it's just kind of like, it's unfortunate, like the timing of, if that makes sense,
I hadn't even considered that. I mean, I guess like on the flip side, like you said, this is not CEO advice. I have never run a large business or organization or anything of the like. There is the other side of the internet that's like, okay, Kevin Rose knows how to run a business. If he can run it more lean, that's just going to be better for the long term. Because he went out there saying like, hey, we're not like in jeopardy right now, but just trying to take this opportunity to not dig ourselves too big of a hole. And then obviously the other side's like, oh, he just bought a house for like $16 million or whatever.
Well, maybe the thing is, some people have said, they need it, or it's been said that, projects are kind of finding their lane, narrowing their scope. And so maybe it's simply that Moonbirds is finding the product market fit, which is like Grails, right? They do a great job at Grails, that drop, that whole anticipation, the production around it. And maybe they were just doing too many things. Maybe they're
finding TLDR. Could you tell me what Grails is? It's just like a project that drops every so often.
I don't know if it's yearly. I don't know what the exact cadence is, but at least up until this point, basically what it is they have a number of artists who are anon, quote unquote, anon for this thing. The art comes out and you don't know who made it, right? People swap it around. There's lots of investigating, lots of, who did this, trying to, sort out who did what. Lots of artists will work in mediums that they don't normally work in to kind of throw you off. And all these pieces get collected. Moonbirds, Proof Pass people get early access to it in different kind of tiers for different reasons, like diamond nesting or whatever, I think. And then there's a big reveal party, right? And it's very much like doing high art, if you will, if that exists in Web3, like kind of art blocks. Sure. It's on the same, it has the same kind of tone as something that would come out from Art Blocks or a super rare party or something like that, if that makes sense.
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, like I know, like you said, they had doubled down on that concept of the art collectors PFP. So if you're saying that's what they did good with Grailed, with Grails, and then I know they just had that Mythic launch, and they've got their Lunar Society community treasury going, and from what I've seen on that on their website, like they've actually had a lot of proposals go through. Like they have a pretty active community building different stuff. Nothing like super like huge on the ask side, but like a lot of different groups of people, like people that I don't even have on my timeline. But it was neat. Like I always like go like to try to see what they're doing and what nouns are doing as well. ApeCoin DAO.
And maybe, maybe that um I had actually been giving Proof some flowers for a while on how much content they put out for the space at large and how they were seeming.
Okay, now that all right. Let's go into that. So everybody, in the under the sun is always like, "Where's my team? Oh, where are you going to communicate? Oh, what are you guys doing?" They have done a really good job. Like, I mean, they're out here all the time. What's his face? NFT Stats. I love his content.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, the Daily Countdown's one of the best shows in the space, like daily shows at least, if not.
and then they did the whole like vlog series around making mythics,
Right.
which I thought was really good. It was fun. Like you get to follow along it being built and stuff like that. And we also just saw Proof at Art Blocks in Marfa.
Yeah.
That I thought was a greatly co-opted, like cross community event. Like they got in there and that was a power play because then they also got to meet like and incubate around other people that really care about, like you said, fine art that's on chain. Obviously, like with the squiggles, they're generative, but I think that those two crowds are cool. I just think
maybe they figured out that there's just not a return on being these like stewards of the whole space, making content for everybody. Maybe they realized that like, hey, we're really good at curating art and kind of existing in this fine art space. And there's not really an intersection between community, broader Web3 presence, and like high art. Maybe I don't know. That's just this kind of sense that I'm getting. I don't really have a fully formed thought there yet.
So then here, look, I'm gonna just shoot from the hip on this one. When I think high art in the space, I think CryptoPunks.
Sure.
Like I'm like those people that hold CryptoPunks are art collectors, right? A lot of them have been here since the first fucking, NFTs as we have seen them recently. And those are the people, right? Like you look at the people you want to go on OpenSea, look at the people that hold punks. Look at all the crazy collections that they have. So what I'm seeing is like do you see that CryptoPunks, do you think they have a super active community? What's your litmus test on what you see about them being active on Twitter?
I know there's a lot of people building, and this is my sense, like this is my kind of broader thesis, is that kind of what's old is new again, in the sense that maybe we're seeing some of the dynamics from like trad art play out here. Maybe Proof, giving them the benefit of the doubt, maybe they're ahead of the curve in the sense that they're like, hey, it kind of reeks like the tweet from the artifact guy, like Walmart and Sotheby's, if that makes sense. Like maybe Proof is saying, hey, we don't see a lot of ROI. It's not doing anything for our brand to make this public facing content that is beneficial for the broader Web3 space. And so we're just going to focus on collecting fine art, creating an exclusive community. That was the thing that brought the Proof Pass to 100 ETH, was exclusivity. Like, and so maybe they're going back to that. I don't know. Like,
so yeah, I mean, I guess like I was saying, CryptoPunks, like just, I mean, think Yuga Labs, right? You have CryptoPunks, you have Bored Ape. The Bored Apes, like their community, they're like, oh, rah, rah, rah. Like we're out here doing these things. We're, like they do those like funny, like memes like we do. We're like doodles. And everyone's like, doodles. And they're like, Bored Ape Yacht Club, fuck it Fridays, like those like little just copy pasta things. I don't see CryptoPunks ever do that.
To be fair, Bored Ape Yacht Club only does that when they get called out. when their community gets like threatened, if they will, then they go like, yo, we're still here. That's pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, I think like obviously the people that like are holding punks like are collecting it or they're building really cool stuff, or it's just maybe they minted it a long time ago. But I guess what I was saying is like their vibe, CryptoPunks, is so different than everybody else in the space, in my opinion. Like they really stand out to me. And I guess, is there room for like another community to do that? Sure. You know what I mean? Like to be like, all right, we're just going to be focusing on collecting art. I think that's what a lot of people do. Um, I don't know. I mean, like I think like of like Pablo Picasso, like that guy just sweeps like crazy, and he wears a punk, but not as many people are like doing that. Or like what's his face 6529, and they're like they're that crew of people, like I that's what I always think about. So I'm interested to see like that. There's probably going to be a purging of people that just doesn't vibe with them.
That's I think that's what we're getting at, right? Is I think I see Proof aligning themselves with the kind of this is a weird to use in the context of NFTs, but kind of the old head collectors, right?
Yeah.
Early art blocks, CryptoPunks, things like that. I think they're trying to maybe align themselves more than that. And CryptoPunks aren't making daily YouTube videos about the market, to be fair.
This is true. I mean, I'm definitely really excited to see that documentary that's going on with NFT now about CryptoPunks.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I wish that I was around earlier when CryptoPunks minted and all that sort of stuff, just to like understand where all those people went. Even when you think about Doodles, like all the people that minted Doodles and were in the early Discord, how many different places that they went from there.
Right.
It's pretty fascinating. But obviously, like being at the time when CryptoPunks went, I mean, those guys, they went bonkers. So yeah, I'm curious because there is, there's those collections like Fidenzas, there's Justin Aversano, there's the Squiggles. There are all those things, but what PFPs do those people have? I normally see them with CryptoPunks. And I guess what I was saying, like about this, like collecting high art, expensive things. Does the price of their PFP matter to them? Like it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna wear a Moonbird, but I'm gonna have a 500 ETH, collection. I guess it's just if they like the art.
Yeah. Someone in the chat in YouTube, Bara, I believe, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, said lines get a little blurry when you look at CryptoPunks. Are they art or are they collectibles? I don't know if there's a clear delineation between those two things, but I think what we have seen is there's an inverse correlation to like utility promised and consideration as art. The less utility promised, the more considered as art, is at least up until this point has been true. I will say, sad day for Proof and the staff at Proof. One thing I was thinking, and I was hoping to get an opportunity to tweet it out, but I wasn't able to. But I think this would be really interesting. I saw some people, Harold from our community council, tweeting about this. I personally think it would be really, really cool for the Web3 ecosystem, for all of us at large, if we could somehow help all those people get jobs. That to me would be a huge win for the Web3 space at large. I don't know. There's something about it to me. I'm like, Proof lays off X amount of people, don't know how many it is. And if we can get them all jobs, right? Help them find jobs. Like that to me would just be so cool. I don't know why that stood out.
Oh, I mean, you saw that one where like Luca Nets, what the guy was named
Penguit, or and he was like, let's ride. And I think I tweeted right below that. I was like, that is the most October 2023 thing ever, that you get laid off from Proof and Luca comes riding in on his stallion of winning. And he's just like, I got you, bro. Come over to the Pangoos.
Yeah, I mean, so like you said, in terms of like flipping that on its side, I think that I do hope that they all find jobs quickly. I'm sure that they're very like very talented people and all that stuff. It's very interesting. We'll see. Like I think NFT Stat said he's gonna like pause making his content for a week, probably getting all the stuff adjusted. But we'll see if they're able to be more nimble. I think that was one thing that Doodles did. I don't know. Some people thought they did it too slow of trying to scale their team. and it's just like, all right, you guys have, like a lot of things to do and not a lot of people. But I think one of the things that I was also hearing at Permissionless, a lot of people say, like when you have like a smaller team and they're hungry and they're working really hard, that's when a lot of really cool stuff happens, like under a lot of pressure.
Yep. I'm interested to see if this starts a line of similar events or if this is the like capitulation in a weird way, like staff capitulation. I don't know if that makes sense, but or if we're going to see more projects doing things like this. Additionally, something that I looked at because I was just curious. I'm like, does this affect the floor price, right? And I did a quick glance at my phone on OpenSea, but it didn't like crater by any standard, which I kind of died laughing about because I was like, late 2022, if your founder sneezed and they're like, hey, I'm going on vacation, everyone's like, Laura, like, get out. This founder's not committed. Like now proof it's like we're laying off, half of our team or whatever it was. And everyone's like, eh.
Well,
I mean, I feel like people were actually mad about Kevin Rose changing his PFP from Bloomberg. That was like what everyone was
that is weird that got more fun than laying off all these staff. Like that's weird, right? Like
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like,
you got to do what you got to do if you're running a business. I definitely understand that. Obviously, it's just like, when people get laid off, like it's tough, but
I guess I'm not trying to call the bottom, but I'm like, if that doesn't affect your floor price, I don't know. Maybe you got
maybe they're really loyal.
Maybe
I only saw like 2 tweets that were like, I'm taking. I think MP9X was like, he sold his Moonbird for like 1 ETH and he bought it for like 30 ETH.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe the price discovery is done. Maybe the price discovery is done if you lay off half of your staff or however many, and then the floor price doesn't budge an inch. I'm like, solid. That's a strong
floor. Community there. That's what we like. Yeah.
Solid start to October. Community. Can only go up.
Oh gosh.
I mean, what worse announcement could you make as a project? We're shutting down completely.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
So if your floor price rides above 1 ETH on that, damn, that's actually kind of bullish.
Well, I guess, you just got to check the chain. The chain doesn't lie. It's immutable. They really don't. I mean, obviously, maybe they care, but they're not flooring their stuff and getting the fuck out.
Sure.
So,
yeah, just
admirable
point. But I see we got, Neanderthal made it up, but then they didn't make it up. But Burry, what is going on? How are you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing good. I just thought for a second you guys were rugging, or it was just an awkward silence, and I couldn't handle it.
I appreciate you saving us from whatever that was. Maybe it was a microphone issue. I don't think we stopped talking, but hey, we know that you're always here for us,
Dude, I don't know. I'm on this new fiber internet from AT&T. I don't know if I trusted it. Freaking crapped out on me earlier today while I was working. So,
I mean, are you whipping a gig?
Nah, dude, I'm on that 300 megs. I don't need a gig, bro. You want me to oversell me on a gig?
Are you sure with those 17 monitors, you must be slurping down
Oh
the
my
data.
gosh, yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's called leveraging fucking business expenditures. But yeah, I mean, that has nothing to do with internet speeds though. But yeah, 300 megs, dude, that's fine.
I'm just saying,
if you guys
like
streaming, to see Burry's setup.
I'm just saying you could like be streaming a movie on one screen and like gaming on the other. Like
you could render a 3D movie on the third one
from a cloud service.
Yeah, I don't know. I got split between my like gangster COVID PC and my work PC. And it's the best of both worlds. But yeah, that complex con thing, interesting. Long Beach is an interesting place. I've been there like once or twice, but I don't know what it's about. But it seems like it's like fancy people buying fancy shit. You know what I'm saying?
Solid quote from Burry. What's Complex Con about? I think it's like fancy people buying fancy shit. Quote.
I mean, fairly. I guess like you're talking about. Even if it's like a photo op and maybe just some meetings, it's good. I think we've seen a couple brand partnerships. Luca Nets might say he's more about distribution partnerships, though. He doesn't really care about brand partnerships as much, I guess, unless you technically say like the people manufacturing his stuff. But
here's my question. Is there like, I mean, like, I don't know, was it Frosty was the one that like I saw that tweet like when you posted it, like, dude, is there any like official Rainbow Hall Insider, like, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what's going on, or they just post it and then it's just like we all get to just ponder about it on across the internet like this?
I think Complex. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, Complex announced it. Maybe they didn't know that Complex was going to tweet it. Maybe they didn't have it lined up for the timing. I don't know.
We haven't seen any confirmation, additional information anywhere else. As far as I know, I don't think there's any like Rainbow Hall Insider info.
Frosty just basically front ran the announcement. So we said, fuck it.
It's up there.
Threw it in the drive.
Neanderthal, what's going on, man?
Oh, what's up, guys? Yeah, I wanted to say I was with Furry. You guys did rug event, like that's how I came up, just to tell you like your mic rug, but you guys are back on track. And then
Sad.
as far it's all good because I was like, what? Who is Julius talking to? I can't hear anyone. But anyway, and then as far as ComplexCon, I think that closely aligns to what they were doing with like Japan. So that kind of like Japan, the ice cream collab, that's more in line with that aspect. And then as far as further information, we really don't have any. And yeah, just shout out to Frosty. Frosty was the alpha on that, and it really is pushing what Julian had said once upon a time, which was putting doodles in cultural tent poles, because ComplexCon is definitely that, right? So it's like from one aspect we have the development for a child family oriented doodles, which would be the campsite, and then on the opposite end we have like Japan, we have something in the water, and now ComplexCon. So it just seems like and the Babe stores, of course, because I think some of the items are currently in the Babe store. So it seems like they're just moving the IP everywhere. That seems to have some kind of cultural relevance. It's quite exciting. ComplexCon is kind of I don't know, it's like the hype beast kind of
Hype beast
target, right?
It's a hype beast
And,
Burning Man.
Yeah, it really is. And I think it's important because that's where a lot of cultural pertinent aspects sell, right? Like the Supremes, the kind of like the shoes, people that collect shoes. As much as people are like, man, I would never pay 1,000. Like, yeah, that doesn't matter whether you would or wouldn't. Like,
Motherfuckers do. Yeah.
yeah,
Like, let's be
people
fair.
do. Like, yeah, let's be fair, right? Exactly. There's people that find importance in that, and then those people absolutely exist, and that's where they go and congregate. So I think it only goes to show like they're having forethought as to who they like to target, and I would say this is possibly one of the greater showcasing. I'm just hopeful to see what they do. I'm hoping maybe there's another collab or something to that effect. Where we get to see them flex their muscle again.
Yeah,
maybe clothing or something.
That's what I'm interested too. Is there going to be like digital? I think in a chat earlier was mentioned that sometimes a lot of companies do exclusive drops at ComplexCon. So I was kind of curious if we'd see anything like that. But Neanderthal, I'd like to get your sense of this too, because you mentioned Shibuya, Parco, and kind of this being cut from the same cloth. I guess we saw Cool Cats, we saw Pudgies at Comic-Con this year, which is very much kind of like cute IP, that kind of vibe. Do you get the sense that ComplexCon is of a similar like reverence as far? It's not as old, obviously, as like San Diego Comic-Con, but like, does it serve a similar purpose in the streetwear culture universe?
I would say to a certain extent. I think it aligns more with like if I had to place it anywhere, it would be more in tune with like the BBC branding, right? Like so ice cream, BBC,
Right.
like definitely hype beast. I think what they're doing with Pudgies is completely different. And then Cool Cats, I'm glad that they were there, but I don't think we have anything that aligns with something like Comic-Con, right? Like we don't even produce anything that would be something to that effect. But I do think that it is culturally relevant. And I do think that getting to that market, which was like this hype beast streetwear, like those people are what drive the culture, the subculture, I guess.
Sure.
And quite possibly it could get us into what, I don't know. It just feels like it is absolutely relevant. It just may not seem like it because I don't think a lot of people that are in Web3 are particularly fond of like just hype beast. That's a completely different culture, but truth be told, that culture
it
does
though?
spend money, dude. I mean, kind of. I don't see a lot of
Yeah.
people like talking. I mean, there's definitely people here, but
I feel
don't
like the
think
Venn diagram of
most part.
hype beasts and like NFT collectors is a circle.
No,
Like, it's
they're definitely, listen, they're absolutely similar. Like they're very similar in nature, 100%. But for whatever reason, the
oh,
cross pollination isn't. I don't
oh,
think it's all the way there.
you're absolutely right. I mean, then there would be more than 200 people in Web3 if the hype beast people were owned NFTs. Let's be fair.
Absolutely. Right,
Um,
right.
like that
they're
would
just
be like
different.
in terms of like actually finding people that would want to own the first edition Charizard. Like, yeah, if you could get the hype beast people that pay like 5x for sneakers that they're gonna put in a box and they have 300 pairs of them, yeah, great. That would be great if you could somehow get them converted over. I mean, like, is seeing a collab with Crocs gonna do it? I don't know. I mean, I guess like Crocs is a relevant brand in that sense. People, there's all sorts of weird collabs. Like Supreme did collabs with like North Face and probably like Timberlands. Just sometimes like if maybe they can respect those people. I mean, I know what's his face, Brandon Rosenblatt. He understands that game like super hardcore. So I'm sure that he was probably the person that cooked this. Him, if I had to assume.
But
But
it could definitely open the door, right? Like, and that's kind of the gist of things. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go at it alone. And that part, I think, is possibly the most important aspect of it. So, like, if anything, these opportunities definitely open the door for those type of collectors. So, like, I personally don't give a damn about Doodle's merchandise on its own. Truth be told, I wouldn't buy anything to that respect, but I would buy something that has to do with ice cream because ice cream has the collectability. Doodles to me is second to that. So the fact that it happened to me was much more important because it opened the door for those people that didn't know what this was. It just gave them the opportunity to see, hey, what is this? Oh, it looks kind of cool. Let me grab it. And then in the near future, then it possibly could be something significant. Once Doodles has its own, like, kind of holds its own. I just don't think it's realistic to expect that just out of the blue. And I think the way they're doing it makes the most sense. It's just like we're just riding the wave with other people that are already in the position. And then eventually it'll just seem like we've always been there. And then hopefully we get those collectors.
Do you guys have any idea like how long it took for brands like Bape or Supreme or Kith, to actually like get off and like become successful and become like, or like what was that sneaker place called? It's gonna kill me. We did the Noodles event there. It's in Soho. What the fuck is it called?
Flight Club?
They do sneaker news.
Oh,
I guess Flight Club is one of them too.
Are you talking about that place that was in Miami?
No. It's in Soho. It's in. Let me see what the hell the name of the place is.
That's such an interesting metric. You're like, when did Bape become ?
Like, how long did they take?
Years, yeah.
And to do what? Like
to become desirable and sell out, like a cult, become a cult, a cult following of people.
I don't know if that's a singular point in history that you can point to, for a lot of these brands. I think that's kind of the whole thing, the whole like Lord and Savior David.
Did they always just sell out from the first time they put out clothes?
No,
just like,
I doubt it.
No. There definitely had to be like this involvement, right? Like Nigo definitely had to connect with someone who then had to connect with someone else who then propagated it. And then you had like Bape had the big collaboration with like Pharrell. And then you had Future, who's one of the up and coming artists of Atlanta, rocking Bape hoodies. And next thing you know, you have like the underground aspect, the Supreme people rocking Bape. I mean, it took years. There's people collecting Bape that have had it since before it was even popping off.
Yeah, Pharrell was rocking it
in 2005.
Yeah.
Like that's so long. It's over 20 years that it still has its relevancy. And then from there, Nigo transfers over, does a new collection, which is a human made. And now human made, you can see human made's progression, and that's been another like 10 years. So it's kind of like, well, we're in the grand scheme of things, we're in year 2, and we get the opportunity to collab with these big brands who, in essence, took years. I mean, same thing with Crocs, right? It took years before people even wanted to wear Crocs. Then they became like this cultural phenomenon where people were comfortable wearing Crocs. And then now people are doing collaborations. And now, for whatever reason, people are like, oh man, it's so sick. A Cars Crocs, that's amazing. So I don't know. I just think it's quite wise to be able to use their what they've built.
And like a blueprint.
Just kind of like, well, not only blueprint, but use what they've built in conjunction with the opportunity to give us more eyes, because regardless of whether it's successful or not, we get the eyes. Like, that doesn't go away, right? Like, whether the Crocs would have sold out or not, we got people that didn't know about Doodles that definitely knew about Crocs to at the very least go, that's interesting. And then if you see that multiple times, eventually it becomes the norm. So if you see it in ice cream and Doodles, you're gonna go, oh, well, didn't they have that thing with Crocs? And now you have like this connection. And now, let alone if you have like Camp on top of that, now you're like, dude, how are they all like everywhere? Why are these people always everywhere?
You know,
and it seems like they've always been over. Anyway, I have to get going, but I'll be listening. So
yeah, thanks for popping up. Appreciate you.
I was just gonna say, Neanderthal, to your point, I was just curious why they didn't sell the Doodles Crocs in the Croc stores. That made no sense to me.
They're too busy selling Lightning McQueen Crocs in the Croc stores.
But I just, in terms of discoverability of other people, I mean, imagine if you got in the Croc stores.
I think it's probably like an alpha beta test of like the onboarding process, right?
Yeah.
Like a limited amount of people, so they can say X amount of people are gonna be running through the studio. At least that's what I'm hoping, is that they're at least like load testing all of that shit once they work through all the bugs. But that would be my guess, right? You said repeatable this and this and this, so this is like the first foray or however the fucking word is to test it out. That's my that's my.
Well, and I think we need to look at this through a little bit of a different lens. Like, we had someone, Bara, once again, apologize if I'm butchering your name, in the chat, said, I remember wearing Nautica and Alien Workshop in the 1990s, and the hype died in the 2000s, right? I think we need to kind of reframe the lens that we're looking at all this stuff through. Because Tony, you're like, when did Bape become the thing where it sells out all the time? One, I don't even know if selling out is a metric of success. Like, I think that's maybe a relatively new phenomenon.
But those brands are built on artificial scarcity. If they didn't sell out, they wouldn't be able to pay their electric bill. Whereas Nike's just like, like, buy all the fucking shocks you want.
Well, yes, but also Nike does have limited drops as well. Like, some hyper, some not. You know, their first run of Air Mags was like 12, and they're like $50,000. But what I'm getting at here is this kind of concept that, like, once a brand is popular, then it just has made it. It isn't necessarily true either. I think about Abercrombie, for example. Abercrombie was like, it was a hunting brand from Canada or something, and then somehow made its way into the cultural consciousness of,
it's metrosexual gorpcore, dude.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, like, well, no, I'm talking about,
dude. LL Bean is the alpha now. Yeah,
I mean, it really is. It really is. But Abercrombie had a moment in like the early 2000s, then died for like a decade, and it was like, you were a loser if you're rocking Abercrombie, and now it's back. Like, so weird. But a lot of this stuff is cyclical, and can they just camp out until they come back in style? I mean, that fashion's just so weird. Just, it's very strange.
So then, do you think, I mean, let's think about brands. Do you think that Doodles is trying to be a fashion brand?
No.
But do you think that this industry of collecting, like, would you say that fashion, like, should we be looking at it through the frame of how fashion works?
It's like every 25 years. My dad's shit was dope when I was coming up, and I was like, yo, I got these freaking what are they, blue blocker aviator sunglasses. Yeah. Like, yeah, if you get some vintage stuff that you hang on to, and then like down the way your kids get that, like, they're gonna be cool.
It does go. I mean, it goes in cycles. Like, once again, no fashion expert here, but you can see Sean Witherspoon is touring the world right now, doing a Gap vintage drop. Mintage, Sean Witherspoon's project, ironically, just did a meetup at the Proof Foundry, I think last week, where they had vintage Wrangler jackets all chipped up with NFC chips, like, and adding patches to those. So the vintage thing, the retro thing is cool. But it is all cyclical. But I think if I had to kind of speculate, Doodles is trying to build a brand that people fall in love with, more similar to something like Hello Kitty or something from like Sanrio. And Hello Kitty is not always popular all the time either, but it has like a baseline collectorship, a baseline fandom, if that makes sense. And then sometimes it becomes more popular than others, is my kind of sense of things. But that's on a very long timeline.
You want to hear something cool?
Go for it.
You know what I got?
What do you got?
What do you got?
Dude, I got a freaking Pokemon Santa Cruz skateboard.
Ooh.
It's in a giant foil, like, unopened bag.
Oh, you got one of those?
Yeah.
Nice.
Where did that drop occur? Was it like
we came up on Zoomies. We were at this like gangster mall down by where we live now, and we were like, I was like, let's just go in here. And I was like, oh, I like these shoes. This guy's like, y'all like Pokemon? I was like, you know what I'm saying? So then he like turned me on to this. He's like, scan the thing, and it took me to the Discord. So I just started, lurking in Discord. And then I won a $50 gift card for like some stupid thing I posted. And then I went down to, here's the crazy story. I went down to Chicago, like downtown, where the Zoomies store was, like in the middle of the day. So I like had no meetings during that time. And I was like, I'll just go like a little early. Like there shouldn't be that crazy of a line. And I got there, and there's like 2 other kids in front of me, and they're like, "Well, welcome in." I stayed out there probably for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes before. And then they're like, I was like asking them how many they had. They were like, they had at that store was like 30 to 40. And like I got one, this other kid got one, and they're like, "You gonna open it here?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm just gonna hang on to it." And they're like, "Ah." And then so like we left, and the girl's like, because you can only buy one. He's like, "Well, if you come back and I don't recognize you, you can get another one." And it was like, okay. And then she's like, "I think there's some down the street at the van store." And I was like, okay. So I like went down like after I checked out, and there's like the one kid that was in front of me, like in line. And he was like, "Yeah, I just called, and they said there's only one here at the store, but like some kid called and said that he reserved it." And I tried to tell him he can't do that. And I was like, "Yeah, that's some bullshit." So I was like, well, I don't, this guy doesn't sound like he knows what he's doing. So let's sit there and fucking wait it out the next 5 minutes, because we got in early at the other place. And then he finally like starts getting closer to the time, and there's now 3 people in line. Me, this kid, me, another kid, and then this other kid just shows up, and he's just like, "Oh, what's going on?" We're like, "Yeah, I don't know." So they only have like one, and like some douchebag fucking thought that he could just like come in and reserve one. Like, and he's like, "Oh yeah." And then the guy like went to come open the door, and he like scurried ahead and then like ran to the counter real quick in front of me and this other kid. And he's like, like tried to check out. And we were like, "Yo, what the fuck is that shit all about?" This kid's like, "Fuck this shit, man." He's like, "I've been out here since 5 a.m. And I was like, "Dude, you were camping outside for 4 hours for that Pokemon deck, and I just rolled up and got one." And then he was like, I just did it." And then it was just like, "Oh man." I was like, "There's only one here, right?" And then the guys were like, "Yeah." And then I was like, "You guys can figure that out. I'm getting out of here. I gotta go figure things out." I was like, "Dude, why don't you just go get the ones down the street of the Zoomies and just give this kid the second one, so you're gonna give one down there?" And he was just like, "No, I just gotta get this one." I was like, "Dude, you're a dick, bro. You broke the rules." But anyways, Token Gate.
Okay, Token Gate. Yeah. Blockchain fixes this, just like the Van Gogh Pokemon drop. Okay, but this is interesting because it brings up a little broader talk about collecting. Because I saw Instagram reel, which is like so boomer instead of saying TikTok, of some kid opening one of those things, the skateboard decks. He pulled a Charizard, and it was so hype. Like,
oh hell yeah,
it was so
hype.
That shit, which is probably why that guy asked if you wanted to open it there. Like, he's like, maybe we can make some content out of this. Like,
dude, if those like they're like hot though. There's like I think 50 of each of the. I think there's like 5 characters that have like the gold hollow, and like people buy them for like 20 grand.
But it's crazy because it's bringing a different just aspect to collecting that just wasn't present when I was growing up. In that you can make content out of your collecting, which kind of has like a Mr. Beast kind of vibe. Like people are just ripping packs. Like I've just like ran across some of these videos of people just destroying packs of Pokemon cards.
How much were the decks?
I think after you factor in the bullshit Chicago taxes, it was like $120 maybe. Yeah.
$120 for a skate deck?
Yeah.
Man, they are printing money.
I mean, you could say that about a lot of things, but like I haven't opened it. The presentation on the outside is cool, and I've seen some of the other stuff coming out. But like, I'm just curious to know like who's actually skating them or who's actually like using them as like a collection.
The irony of us being in an NFT space, going like the margins on skateboards, like they are printing money over there. I mean, come on.
No, I'm just thinking, like a skate deck is like, I don't know, $50, maybe $60.
50, 60 probably.
Yeah. So that's at least they're getting their bread.
How much is
this whole
100
artificial
lines of
scarcity
code?
game.
Okay. Keep on the Ethereum blockchain. 60
Well,
cents.
but Burry, my recommendation for you would be to keep that thing wrapped up, put it in a box, send it to Americana, get that thing scanned, vault it, and put it on Americana. And I would not open that thing.
I can do that.
Smart.
That's what I would do.
I have it right now inside of a like 80-year-old fucking war chest that you can't get in unless you know the code, and the code is a key that I have. So good luck.
Noise.
But
Yeah,
Americana, I can really do that. They'll like secure ship it, and then it's like NFT.
Yeah, they'll scan it, turn it into an NFT. They'll give you the NFT, then you can burn it, and they'll ship it back to you, or you could sell the NFT, and then that owner of the NFT could burn it if they want the physical, or they could sell it.
You have to double
multiple
check
times.
if Americana is transferable yet. There's something about that. Maybe we could get some clarity
What?
from somebody. Someone said like the vaults are not transferable yet, or I don't know what the status is.
I'm not sure if they're completely up and running, but at least that's where I would put it. I have a skate deck that I want to send there.
Well, I have like literally a drawer where I think, dude, you got me. Someone or 82, someone was talking about like the figurines, and I like panicked and I bought one on StockX. The like
the
original one,
the Doodles figurines.
The original one, yeah, the original one where the guy's puking. I got like the regular half one, the original guy's puking, and I got the
Nice.
I got the puzzle still wrapped up, but I also have this like, what is it? I got the green freaking shoes that I won. I got these Travis
that was
Scott
nice.
shoes, and then what else is there? This Goose, the band, like a puzzle that's still, it's like only, I don't know, one of 300, but like you're telling me I can get them out of my drawer and put them into an NFT in a secured location,
Yeah.
and then I can sell them. You were saying I can't sell them, or like what's the point of it if you can't sell it?
The longer, I mean, I don't know if it completely works yet to do all the transferring, but it's being set up and built to do that. So like
Right.
physical collectibles can be traded digitally without needing to ship it around places, unless you really want to display it in your house.
What was the thing that you were talking about? The guy took like a loan out on the Supreme stuff. What was that company called?
So that's called 4K Protocol. And theirs is, and like I said, I don't know the status of Americana one, so I don't want to say, maybe investigate it yourself, message Chief. I'm sure he can school you up right away. But the one that did the Supreme tokenization was called 4K Protocol. So they're a pretty interesting company. They have some interesting ideas, but they do good work as far as tokenizing physicals.
I'm looking into it. I'm interested now.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, I mean that I really do. There's going to be, our other Lord and Savior Alexis Ohanian, he always would tweet pictures of like a baseball card or something like that and talk about alternative assets, right? And so it's all these collectibles, because that's what we're talking about is collectibles. And so the potential of tokenizing these collectibles in the real world, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I'm just ranting, but I was watching some whatever it was, a montage of Pawn Stars yesterday, talking about it was like the top 5 holy grails of Pawn Stars, and some guy brought in a 1-of-1 Hot Wheels and it was worth like $100,000. It was crazy, but the reality is to access liquidity, you had to like go to Pawn Stars, you know what I mean? Or go to like a toy shop or go on like a forum somewhere and convince somebody it's worth money. In tokenizing these collectibles opens up worldwide liquidity. So Burry, should you ever want to sell it, you know, you could sell someone the NFT of your green shoes and they could be in Antarctica, right? And then if they wanted to hold the shoes or keep them in the vault, they could. Or if they wanted to claim them, then they could burn the NFT and then 4K would mail them the shoes.
I would agree with that, except for the Antarctica part, dude. We're not getting to Antarctica.
I mean,
We're not
that's fair. I'm just saying that you know, the it's extensive, it's worldwide. You know what I mean?
But also, the green shoes are NFC chips, so they can be verified.
Wait, for real?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I see you. That's
Who
awesome.
did? Do you know who did it? Is that like an IYK thing?
I don't know what those acronyms are.
I would
IYK
doubt that it's IYK.
Is just like a RFID that they've been putting in clothes.
Because they don't think they're
it's
NFTs.
Probably what that is. It's like when those things came, so I got gypped, I feel like, because like mine just came like literally these shoes.
Oh, not in the box. I remember you saying
Some
that.
people got some like the dope box, and I got not that. So, but they're chipped, whatever. I'm hanging on to them. They're not my size, but it's one of those things. It's like that. I got like a pair of like another like pair of shoes. Like there's a couple collectible things that I've been but like the deck, you know, it's like an awkward thing to just have around, so I can ship it somewhere and just like digitally hang on to it until I want to either redeem it or sell it. That'd be dope.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of like the concept of Americana. At least I think it's going to be like a new way to flex it, as opposed to like Instagram. Like, hey, here's my life highlights. It's more like, here's all my valuable assets.
Verified. It's like, hey, I have this Rolex somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a no risk flex. Okay, what meta flex? You get like a slap bracelet that just displays your Rolex. You're not actually even wearing it. It's just an NFT of your Rolex.
Did you see the metaverse thing with
the AR glasses from Facebook
thing? No, there's like the updated like
the Lex Friedman interview.
Friedman thing. Yeah.
Okay.
That's no idea what you guys are talking about.
It wasn't that wild to me because I'm like, didn't Apple Vision say they were doing the same thing like 3 months ago?
Yeah. Who's there first though?
Apple in this case, which is rare. Like, yeah, Apple was like, hey, you can use our spatial camera to create a 3D like photorealistic avatar of your face, and you can use that on FaceTime instead, like from while wearing the goggles.
When is that? Is that coming out next winter?
2014, 2024.
I thought it was like 2024, but I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
You're right. I think
I want to know about the incubator, dude. Who's freaking winning incubations?
Dude, good question.
Well, mine has been sitting there in review for a fat minute. I'm just waiting to hear what went on.
Yeah, I mean, nothing. I was looking at it. You know, there's not any, at least populated on the Notion. I should check on the Discord as well, but I'm not seeing any new proposals over the past week.
In the Notion, what I noticed is that the Doodle trays got denied.
Okay. Did they give any context?
Yeah, they did. I need to go to the website though, but I noticed it like 2 or 3 days ago.
Okay, because I'm looking at it right now.
I think that they needed to maybe like show demand a little bit more, and then make a little bit more sense about
they actually
how it generates revenue.
Interesting. They actually gave a lot of feedback. Okay. So
yeah, because I had seen Half Human go out there and post like a tweet that was like, hey, you know, like if I made these, would you guys like
asking for
have
some
interest
additional
in demand?
Yeah.
And I guess after that had happened, not that long after it, then I had noticed that it moved to the
Dude, Mighty Roops, let him speak, dude.
Yo, Roops.
Oh, I just pop in here to say hello from Burry's backyard gallery.
Are you on the porch?
Dang, dude.
I don't know where I'm at right now. I'm facing one direction. Can't see behind me.
Burry, you have them locked on the porch? What are you doing?
He was just chilling for a second, dude. We're gonna take him around. He's just getting started.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, you just remind me, Roops. Did you guys hear what happened to Varun like a couple days
Yes.
ago? Oh my
My
gosh,
brother.
he was like almost resurrected from the dead on some crazy stuff. I think he got bit by a scorpion or something.
Yeah, wild.
And he had anaphylactic shock at his sister's wedding, and there was a bunch of doctors around there driving around the town try to get adrenaline and or an EpiPen, and thankfully he's like on the come up. But goodness gracious,
Dude,
for all of you guys who don't know who Varun is a awesome dude, and he was the magician behind Space Doodles. He worked with Alfie Motion.
Absolute Giga Chad brain, and literal Giga Chad, and also Giga Brain.
Yep.
But yeah, glad he's okay. But that like triggered something in me from my like pre-med education about like access to healthcare. I got super triggered by that. I was like, I can't believe Varun almost didn't make it because lack of access. Total bummer.
Yeah, I did see like the end of that thread kind of be like maybe that would be like something that he's trying to see how the blockchain could help,
Sure,
give better access to healthcare in developing places. So I was like, that was like maybe like the arc that I saw from that. Obviously, he's recovering now, but I'm wondering.
Yeah. Neanderthal, so you're back at the hand up. What's going on?
Oh yeah, dude. Half Human is here, so I'm not sure if he's gonna come up, but I wanted to touch up on that particular proposal and just for a moment. So I know he absolutely Giga Chad. Let me start off with that, and I'm excited to see what he has in the future. I don't want to kind of leak anything that the man has, but we kind of spoke about the proposal. I think at the time I had told him like, hey, I'm not really sure if the trays are like are going to be as popular. And then we kind of threw around some ideas. He mentioned that he has other ideas, which is quite exciting. And I did want to just throw it out that although some of these proposals may not make it in the event that something like that happens, at least for me in particular, I think sometimes we forget that we do have the power to make an effort to ensure that maybe it doesn't work for Doodles, right? But it can work with other projects that we may be familiar with. And sometimes that is much more important than anything else. So I DM'd Half instantly, and I was like, look, man, I don't know if this is going to work for Doodles. And then I gave him kind of like a list of things that may work. And then he said he had an entirely, like, he was like, man, if this doesn't work, it's okay. Like, I still have other ideas that I like to go through. So I want to first and foremost commend the man for that, because I think that's quite exciting to be like, you know what, this didn't work, but fuck that. We're just going to keep on going. We're going to keep on trucking. And that part was exciting.
So what we need to do as an incubator is buy a moonbird, buy a noun, buy a bag of ape, so that we can access everyone else's treasury.
Let's make that a proposal. I want to do that, and then just start flinging proposals.
They're like, oh, this isn't a good fit for us, but you can use our moonbird. We'll delegate it to you so you could propose to the Lunar Society.
Dude, I honestly would propose that we if we did that, we would have to make some creative name for it, but we would
for the ETH. The dot.
We have to give it to Jims, dude. Jims he's like a lurker upon lurker, dude. You know what I'm saying? We
stick
Jims
he
on him,
flips
dude,
doodles like nobody's business.
Dude, Jims is, yeah. You know what's crazy about Jims? Very truthfully, the man really does pay attention. Like if you go on Discord and see someone ask like, hey, do we have any information on this? He had such a comprehensive overview of what's happening currently in Doodles. I was like, what in the fuck? Like, Jims, I've only known this person for flipping, and here he is. He's like, nah, man.
But he's also the person who's like, all right, I have one doodle, and then 3 days later, he has 3 doodles, and he somehow traded to get them. And I'm like,
I for one, love Jim's hustle. I remember at some point he bought a doodle and then figured out that there was a bunch of derivatives already made about that doodle from like the previous holder. And then he was like, look, this doodle comes with all this art. And I was like, that's fucking genius. Like,
oh yeah,
that's great. All right. I do want to discuss something about the half tray proposal. because this is
Yes,
really
yes.
interesting to me, and I hadn't seen this before, and I am concerned. Maybe I'm processing it in real time. Two pieces of feedback on there that I find really interesting. It says the nature of the idea. The proposal suggests a startup model which isn't suitable for an experimental initiative that we're targeting. And maybe it's a language thing. Like I'm just not familiar with the kind of like grant language, things like that. I'm like, if you're not looking for startups to be commercial experiments, what is it? What is the other thing that would qualify? And then
So
two, it says demand verification. There's no concrete evidence presented, such as pre-orders, to validate demand for the idea. And to me, there's kind of like a cart before the horse thing. Like if he doesn't have the business started or at all, like how is he supposed to generate demand? Like there's a little bit of like ambiguity there that is a little bit concerning to me.
well,
Agreed. Yeah. I'll go ahead. Sorry, Tom.
no, that's all good. Lifts, to your point, like let's just think about like the app thing that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're not like, okay, like make an app and then see if people want to use it. They're like, okay, see if you can get 50 people that say that they would buy it. Like that, how much is that going to cost the incubator? Like $500 to make like a picture by Art Dude. And it would just be like half, doing his thing, like with a doodle tray. And it would be like, hey, doodles, like, if you're interested in getting a doodle tray that would be customized with your doodle, here's the cost. It would be $60. If yes, like sign up on this Google form here, and then give it 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And then if he gets the signatures, then he can go to the incubator and say, hey, all, I got 60 people that want it. Now, will you give me money to make these?
Yeah.
Just in
Right.
terms of, as opposed to being like, hey, can I have $5,000 to make these things? And he's like, how many people want to actually buy them? Or are you just going to have a box full of trays?
That makes sense. I guess I can understand that. I guess
From
there's
an MVP, like
right,
it's
right.
just not an MVP right now.
The whole thing, and this is where it's interesting because you're right. You could say I have a poll or something like that, or a sign up that says, "Would you be interested in?" Right, and that's such like that kind of like product development thing. It's very that is what you do. To me, I'm just like talking out loud. What is striking through my mind of if I even hint at doing something, I want to like have the ability to execute on it in some way, shape, or form, or like that it's coming down the pipeline. Because I don't want to be like, hey, like I'm thinking about doing this. What would you all think? Like to me, but I know I'm wrong.
I mean, couldn't you order 5 of them and just take pictures with them and then like make like more content about it and be like, hey, look, here's a doodle tray. Here's stuff you could do with it. Like you could fucking, I don't know, play Mancala with it. You could roll a backwood. You could knit,
no, you're 100%
put
right.
your needles.
No, you're 100% right. I can get behind that. But I know it's cutting off Neanderthal. So Neanderthal, what's up?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so that Half did mention that in one of the chats, and he said, "Hey, you know what? I'm planning on doing is maybe just showing what it takes for me to do this." So to your point, there is that opportunity there. And then secondly, I did mention to Half, and I mean this part of the conversation I don't think is as private. So it was just simply I said, "Hey, look, you have Alchemy who does he does kind of like branding for not only Doodles but for other projects." And then you have Hi Dude, who's very much that's on brand, is having this fucking tray, right? Like this smoking tray or just whatever tray, whatever you want to call it, to go to his brand in particular would be like such an easy connection. And that's why I mentioned like sometimes these things may not work out to be particulars for doodle holders because I don't think there's many people that are doodle holders who are actively, smokers besides maybe Frosty, who's one of the biggest stoners in fucking Web3. But like that doesn't negate the fact that I definitely want to see this. Maybe not for us, but I do want to see Half Dude or Half Human. I mean, succeed, man. At the end of the day, it's all about the connections we make, and sometimes we have that at our disposal. So when I messaged him, I was like, look, if it doesn't work for Doodles, and by the way, when he messaged me back, he was like, it may not work, but I definitely I want to work with the Doodles, with Doodle holders, which I think is one of the most commendable things as a newer holder who's still like, nah, fuck that. I want Doodles to have something from me, which I think is awesome. But on a side note, I did mention, I was like, hey, there's these other projects that I know, like best buds on Bitcoin is literally Weed Bud. And then I forgot the other ones. Stone Ape Crew is literally revolved around weed.
Or
So
what?
it's
What
like,
about
it
stoner?
doesn't
What
have
about
to
stoner
be with-
cats?
Yeah, sure. Stoner cats. Like, I mean, we
Gutter
I
cat
can
gang.
assure you- yeah, right, exactly. So we all know these micro communities that we can present this to, and even one of ones, right? Like there might be one of ones out there that are like particular artists that would love something like this for their holders. And I think sometimes, if you are looking at these incubations and they don't necessarily work for the incubator or they get funded, I would say as doodle holders, just to be, you know, uh, bros to each other, I guess, or whatever, be good dudes to each other. In the event that you do foresee something that may not work necessarily for us, but work with someone else, I would suggest, highly suggest that you just reach out to that person and say, hey, I read it. It also didn't make sense, but this is what I think. And I would say
Oh,
that is far more important in the grand scheme of things. Because I heard you guys talk about, these guys getting laid off and then finding them work. I think that's awesome. But in the same way, like some of these incubators, I mean, these are doodle holders who are trying to do something cool for doodles. And sometimes it may not work, but if you know something that works for them, even if it doesn't work for doodles, I would say it's within our best interest to see our community succeed. And it's very easy to just go out and say, hey, maybe this other thing will work for you. And I think this is why. And sometimes that will lead that person to the success that we're looking for and maybe new ideas. Cause I know I definitely pitched Half Human a couple outside that may possibly work. But anyway, I just wanted to jump up because you guys
yeah,
mentioned it. But I'm gonna jump back down. But thank you guys once again.
I appreciate that, Neanderthal. I think that was a good call out. I would just say, even just to have like DMs are always open if you want to reach out or whatever. I'd be like more than happy to like at least hop on a phone call or something, to see if maybe we could workshop another way for you to tackle it. Because I could definitely think of a few. Like you could ask for money to make like a trailer, and as long as you recorded yourself, you get someone to edit it, and then you can make a tweet where you're like, all right, like here's custom trays with your NFTs. Like maybe we could get connected with Alchemy and see what he does. And then you're just like, if you want to have a tray with your NFT on it, pre-order at this link. Then your list of people doesn't just have to be extracting from Doodles community necessarily, because like it shouldn't have to be a Doodles community only project. Like if it's going to be something that's generating revenue for the incubator, I would definitely hope that it's not just extracting from the Doodles community, that it's reaching beyond, so that revenue from outside can come in. And it might just help pamp those numbers a little bit too.
Yes,
They
very
call it
interesting.
cross-pollination.
Yeah, no,
Is that what those bees are doing, Burry?
They're buzzing and just christening and crossing. That's cross-pollination, folks, and that's just spreading the hive.
I think there's some good insight in that feedback. So definitely something to keep in mind if you're building out an incubator proposal, for sure, worth looking at. For sure. Was there any other fresh new proposals or anything that caught your attention, Tony?
Well, we got the one that's going to be in Amsterdam.
Oh,
got approved.
Near's event, yes.
I mean, what is it, like 7th time is the charm? Near's proposed a lot of different events, and one did land in Amsterdam. And Ingy is going to be there, I think, talking at the event. So I'm sure that he'll be able to come through. I know in that Red Bull thing, that Red Bull doodle art collab that Burnt Toast did, he had mentioned in an interview there that he wanted to go to Amsterdam. I know that he's been to Amsterdam, but I'm sure that he likes Amsterdam a lot. So maybe we'll see a little Burnt Toast out there.
Okay.
I don't know.
Speaking of Burnt Toast, our man, I think in like 10 days, has his first individual art
first
show.
solo art show.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome.
It's called Drunk Tank Pink, and it's at the Ross and Kramer Gallery in Manhattan.
Now, I know I kind of called this out earlier, but it's from the previews, right? I was kind of like, no more lines? Like, is Burnt Toast done with the thick black lines?
I mean, Doodles isn't done with the thick black lines, but
is it though? Have you seen the new logo?
I mean, did you see the video that they dropped today?
I mean,
Was there lines in it?
I'm just saying. Burnt Toast seems to have moved on from the lines. He doesn't love us anymore.
blurred lines, dude. These are blurred lines.
These are blurred lines. But it's interesting. I just more like as an artistic progression thing. I'm like, oh, interesting. Like he's doing it without lines. That's kind of interesting. But I'll be excited to see kind of
The offset is the signature.
What's the offset? The floating eye?
Yeah.
It was always the floating eye, I guess. I guess you're right.
Dude, and always pay attention to the guy with the wonky eye.
Nice. Yeah, the guy in the corner of the room with the wonky eye. But I guess we've only seen a couple previews from that art show. I'll be really interested to see how many works that he actually displays. That'd be really cool.
And I guess the alpha that I could drop that I know, Aton Sticker Dude is trying to cook up a community event around in the city where this is, but in around when it launches. So I know he's probably going to drop that here pretty soon.
Ooh,
so if anybody's around,
that's like
in
that's
New
like
York City area,
10 days, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if he has it set up for like the day that it drops, but you know it's going to be there for like about a month.
Yeah, that's what's well, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But like also like, well, when is the complex
it's like November 18th. Something
yeah,
like
at least there's some like runway for that, right? Like not a ton, but like if people are trying to do things around it, that's all I'm saying.
Oh, right. More Bury events?
Dude, maybe, dude. I'm trying to find like a cool spot to go to, like VCons in like LA. Like, I mean, there's probably some dope stuff we can probably.
I am curious because I know we have some doodles in California. Granted, I'm not familiar enough with the California landscape to be like Long Beach is close to blip. I mean, a quick Google search away.
Long Beach it's like well, obviously it depends on traffic, but it's like far south from you. Like could fly into LA and then you drive far south. I don't know where the LA Live thing is, where VCon's at, but I just know Long Beach is like 40 to an hour drive from the LA airport.
Okay, so but it wouldn't be that outlandish for people who live in LA to show up.
I don't think so. If they're into it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm thinking about making the drive myself. We'll see.
That is way too long of a drive for me. Roops, are you going to drive there?
I mean, if Barry is driving, I mean, obviously he'd take me. I assume so.
I'm gonna bring you on the plane, dog.
Does that count as a personal item if you're traveling? One Roops.
Dude, it's a compassion partner.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
True.
It's
Emotional
all
support.
about it's all about how you structure in the eyes of the person that's trying to fleece you.
That's awesome. Juiced. GN. Welcome.
What up, dudes?
How's it going?
Yo,
I heard you guys talking about my hometown. I live in LA, and so Complex Con, I saw that they dropped like who's going to be involved. So obviously, when I saw dudes on there and sitting right next to Crocs, like no other, I
Mm. Right, like a David Dobrik. Yeah, like here's some Crocs. Lick City. Becoming that was as gentrified as you could get. Yeah. I'm bullish on that statement. Yeah. I mean, that would be cool if they somehow did something with each other in terms of other, like, in terms of a brand partnership. But I feel like, could we ever do something with somebody that does stuff with Nike? I guess this isn't like Drake and Kanye, right? Like, we can all be friends. I don't know if I believe that statement or not. Mm. You know what? You're right. That leaves the athleisure line for dude lifts to hit.
Ah, yes.
They haven't found their product market fit with athleisure.
Yep. That's me.
Corp core. Lips.
Oh yeah. No, I'm rugged on spaces. I can only hear Tony.
Oh.
I know. It's sad. But I feel like if I leave as the co-host, then I'm shutting this thing down. So I'm just
How would you shut it down if you can only hear me? Leave and then come back up. I'll let you back up.
All right, we'll try. We'll try. You've been warned. All right, we'll give it a shot. Here we go.
Congratulations.
We'll be like, GTFO. And then we just rug the space. That's how we do it.
Now that Dude Lives is gone.
Now the real party can begin. So Doodles and Nike, right? Does anybody want to be the co-host? Pie in your own, like, night shoes.
You
or slippers.
motherfucker. I'm back.
Welcome back.
I heard you. No, I thought I was going to rug the space as the co-host if I left. My internet just,
No.
I don't know if someone was doing some service in my neighborhood. It's literally never happened. My phone, like my computer, everything was just like, nah, your internet's gone. So now we're back.
All right, I got a random question for you guys. And I know, like, I should have probably done a little bit more background research and just general understanding of incubator and everything like that. And from my elementary understanding, it's really more for like events and event proposals. I know there's probably other things there too, but what about starting a like solo business venture with your dude as the or part of or the full logo? Like, what are the restrictions
Literally,
there?
That's literally what it is.
Yeah, do it.
That's it.
Do that.
Okay,
The events was
Okay.
just easy, so they rolled that out first.
okay, because I definitely have an interesting concept that I'm just getting a little bit more like background research on and figuring out material costs and everything like that for the first product that I would bring to market. It's
Does-
definitely unorthodox.
Does it have anything to
but
do with plumbing?
I'm not gonna divulge.
Plumbing?
Yeah, like he's got a poop on his head. Like
Yeah. I'm a poop dude.
he's a poop dude.
But
Imagine a
but
poop
yeah, so
a poop plunger. I mean,
am-
easy, done.
it's what this is just one of my dudes. I do have two, but I am intrigued by the opportunity, and I have some thoughts already on building what it could be. So what you're saying is that I should just I should go through the incubator.
Yeah, the if you're gonna do it as a business, like if it's something that you think that it will eventually sell products and you'd be able to kick back the incubator a revenue share, you would use the commercial experiment grant.
Got you.
So if you look at that, that's your thing. If you're just thinking of it like you're gonna do a limited run of this thing like once, you're like, okay, I'm gonna make 150 t-shirts, then you would just use a custom proposal. But if you think
Got
this
it.
is something like that, you might need like mentorship, like capital injections, like a lot more structured commercial experiment. Because then from there it turns into an incubation if you can be successful with the experiment.
Cool.
Definitely,
Okay,
yeah,
well-
definitely read the docs, read the Notion page. Like this is not the terms and conditions that you want to skip over. Because a lot
And read and the FAQs.
Right.
That basically is like the instructions.
Yep.
Okay. No. Appreciate that because I wasn't sure the depth and the breadth of the incubator because I just have not had time to dive completely into it. But I figured that would be the case, and so I'm glad I jumped on. I knew you guys would have all the knowledge necessary for me, so appreciate y'all.
Yeah, and it also doesn't need to be like based on the doodle that you own, right? It could be something not doodles related, right? So just putting that out there, so you don't restrict yourself to, hey, I'll only use my doodle alone, and then just put those horse blinders on. You could, do whatever the hell you want, right?
Yeah. No. Definitely appreciate that. I will say I buy things if I think that there's an opportunity for me to do something with them. So that's the reason I bought this doodle. I don't know, about a month and a half ago ish. So I mean, I also, I mean, I wrote a children's book with like characters from a different collection like a year ago, and so like I'm definitely interested in trying to like
In an IP play.
Yeah, exactly. And I still own those because obviously I can't, I wouldn't sell them because I already produced something using that IP. But yeah, so I look for things where I'm like, all right, I can see something coming out of this. So that's the goal, and that's what I'm out here to do.
Yeah, I mean, feel free. Like Ink Tank, like in essence, like if people have an idea, like we could just sit here and take people's feedback and workshop stuff for proposals.
That's been,
if not, we just talk shit.
Yeah, that's been some of the most fun we've had in Ink Tank. Is someone's like, what if we did some crazy shit? And they're like, all right, let's go. We just have a ton of fun. There was even someone in the YouTube comments that said, given the therapeutic nature of doodling, partnering with a mental wellness app for all users to engage with as a doodle, as a form of relaxation, could be a fun idea. So I just love that. That was like a YouTube comment. And I'm like, that's fantastic. Like, that's great. Love that idea.
Yeah, I actually have, I have a lot of contacts and friends. Actually, have someone I know that I grew up with actually works at Headspace. So that's interesting.
Nice. Yeah. Well, and Burnt Toast he did a Google, it was like where you release a piece of artwork for Google for the day, like on the front page. It was really cool. But part of his thing was all about mental health and like stressing the importance of that. So it's clearly something that is important to BT, and and as a result, it's imparted into the collection, I think. So it's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of burnt toast, I really loved it was such a natural collab with the doodle art competition with Red Bull.
Yep.
For him to release something like that. I actually really loved seeing that, even though I don't work there anymore.
No, that was really, really cool. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, it was doodling. I mean, it was called the doodle competition before doodles. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, it was pretty great. It's pretty great.
Yeah, such a logical fit. It was so awesome. It was cool to see that.
Eitan, our resident New Yorker. What's going on, man?
There he is. What's going on, Lips? What's going on, TGID? What's going on, dudes? I'm debating right now.
Doodles.
I want to give a shout out to Chef Tony. See him cooking on the timeline, but behind the scenes, this guy is a saint, helping out. I know not just me, but any other dudes with anything. So, definitely want to give shout out to my chef. Shout out Lips. I went to the gym today. I feel fantastic.
Woo!
I feel fucking great. What's going on? I see some cool names.
Eitan, I feel like this would be a good time to tell people a little bit. I'll give a little alpha leak what you might be working on.
Ooh. Let's establish some demand. You know, this is a recorded space. You can upload it, send it in with your application. Be like, look, people love this idea. It's great.
Right. So look, we all know that BT is having his first ever show opening in New York City starting October 12th until early November. More importantly, that gives us, the doodle holders, a very awesome opportunity to utilize doodle incubation funds, because I know a lot of doodles will be coming to town. More importantly, the team is probably going to be in town. More importantly, we have access to direct funds to throw one of the greatest Halloween bashes yet that Doodles has ever seen. So I've had Chef, Kat, and a few other Doodles help me out in picking a venue, a spooky location.
Ooh.
Have to keep it on theme, so we want to do a haunted house. Already have talking with the artist, Art Dude, who I have him locked in. So if I have the proposal locked in, he already knows the vision. We're going to have Halloween derivatives. We're going to just have a major Doodles Fest, because it's been a minute. So
It's time.
It's been a minute. So it's time. It's absolutely time that we have a spooky New York City session.
Is it going to be like a costume optional or costume required?
We could do optional. I'm a no force. People can dress how they want.
Yeah, man.
Maybe I'll come in as my doodle.
Yeah, you have to dress up as your doodle.
No, you get extra brownie points. Yeah.
I can imagine. Lips. You guys. I've had my picture up on my timeline. I don't care, but imagine dyeing my hair purple, getting like an earring.
Dude, it would be the pink turtleneck for me. That's what would just be piece de resistance. So good.
Clean.
So good.
But yeah, that's my pitch for New York. So look out for the proposal. If you have any ideas or want to get involved, this is always a community thing. So,
well, in that,
more than happy.
Tony brings up a good point from earlier about kind of establishing demand. I know community events aren't necessarily the same, but you could easily put out a Twitter poll or a Google form preceding your application. Says, hey, any doodles in New York, would you come to a Halloween party / haunted house or something like that during these approximate dates? You might be able to get a rough sense for who may want to attend. That might help the strength of your proposal for what it's worth. Or Tony, what do you think? Do you think that's worthwhile?
I think it depends how you do it. If it's not visually appealing, people might just not look at it as much. At least that's what I think.
Well, less about how is it going to perform in the timeline, but more about will it strengthen?
No, but are people going to actually do it?
You know what I mean? Engage with it.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest about it, dude, if I'm going to be making plans to go somewhere, it's got to be whatever the combo of things are. But Captain Roops, got to hear him.
Roops.
Yeah. I don't think that maybe that necessary to do, given the location you're currently in. Yeah, I mean, you're talking with Kat, right? And she's in charge of, well, like reviewing these sort of events things. And Doodles have, in history shown some sort of, leaning to the side, bias towards US based events. So I don't think they might go too hard on you for not submitting an interest form or something like that. That's just my thoughts. So don't think too much into it.
I also think it's a unique case with like Burnt Toast exhibition. Like just people are gonna go. It might be a nice idea to just be like, all right, and look, here's a community event, just like how Bury, you did with camp. It's like, all right, people like camp's going on. All right, let's give them something else to do there. So it kind of makes the incubator like complement it, which I think is cool.
But
it's gotta be a double dip, dude.
But I think that, I remember Ness put out an interest form, but had he already been approved by that point?
No, the timing needs to get figured out for these things. And it's hard because because you're trying to lock down a venue and sell the hype on it before you have approval of funds. So it's like, that's a lot of time and, your stuff that you spent into it.
Is there anything, that's what I'm saying, is there anything to lose by, let's say Eitan puts out a tweet that just says, hey, if you're a Doodle in New York, would you attend a haunted house party at this date? It's a Twitter
Here's
poll.
The thing.
Says yes or no.
So if 2 people reply and 2 people say no, and then that's the numbers that he has, how does that help? I think if anything, people will be like,
you need specifics. It can't just
no
be
interest.
a haunted house party. It's like X and Y Z DJ or at XYZ place, or like what's the like hook appeal to me coming out to that thing on top of the thing that I would also like to come out to, but like now I can justify it because I have 2 things to come out there for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's tough because I'm like, yeah, you want to be able to show demand, but to you all's point, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if there's a good answer to that.
I mean, I think the thing is, ultimately, I feel like that's a thing that Kat is going to decide if she's the events person, or the council would decide if they're like, oh, we're not sure if there's like enough people in like, I don't know, Milwaukee that want to go to a Doodles event, but in New York City, you know what I mean? New York City is like kind of like a big hub.
I guess it's
and I feel like the thing that's going to help get signups is if you get approved, then Mushy and them can use Discord.
I think it's just different. I need to not put events in the same lens as a commercial experiment. I think that I'm trying to apply that lens to that. So probably just need to.
But also the same, like, I mean, there's like rules within the like guidelines of the events thing that's like there's a ratio of like doodle holders and non-doodle holders, which needs to be looked at. But then like I don't have to, I'd have to go back and read it, but like I don't know if you can, maybe Tony, can or cannot do ticketed things, but it's like, okay, maybe it's like, all right, well, I can get a certain percentage of people to come in that are doodles holders there and give them this elevated experience. But then if you can sell tickets to, so you have a group of people that want to do such and such a thing, and then they'll be willing to pay, on that. I don't know. Tony, do you know the rules? Roops does.
Yeah, Roops, you got your hand up. What's going on?
Oh yeah, my hands up was for a while. So yeah, let me sort of kind of give was it Bury an answer? I mean, I think you should go ahead, try it out. You never know what you have to lose, right? Send an application in. I mean, think about it, right? You're running a sort of commercial situation, right? That would kind of ease off your expenses, or possibly even return to the bank something, right? I mean, I only see pluses for that. Yeah, I say go ahead and do that. But this thing, like, yeah, I want to pose like a thing for you guys to think about. This event that Neil has in Amsterdam, think about it. Ingi is going there. Did you see beforehand any surveys coming out asking, hey, would you guys be, in Amsterdam from now? Right? I mean, I didn't see any personally. So again, don't overthink it, Ethan. You just do your thing, right? I'm sure that shouldn't be much of an issue down the line, right?
It's a good point. It's a really good point.
But yeah, I
Also-
mean, and lives
yeah.
to that point, like Burry was saying, the questions for the events is definitely very catered towards events. Like the
Yes.
application, like once you read the application, you'd be like, okay, I see like where the pain points are different.
No, totally different. Totally makes sense. I just got off on a weird tangent in my mind since Roops was mentioning the Amsterdam event. I wonder if Nier is planning on recording Ingy's talk. If not, if we could convince him to and get some distribution on that, I think that'd be awesome.
That'd be dope.
All right. Need to shoot a DM out to Nier. I know we're coming up on almost 2 hours, Tony. So we probably should wind things down. I always feel like towards the end of the show, everyone finally gets like excited to start talking about the proposals, and I'm like, wow, we need to somehow increase that rate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll have to start incentivizing people.
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
We'll offer free something. Free Genesis box.
We'll pick up your Starbucks, yeah, or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll have to gamify it a little bit sometime.
Nice.
But over my dead body, they will not be POAPs. I'll tell you that.
But maybe poets.
Maybe poets. Shout out to Harold.
Shout out to Harold. Staying with crypto.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, staying with crypto. He was in DC. Where were you?
Dude, our man Harold was in DC standing with crypto. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I'll pin that to the top. We got to give him credit where it's due. Harold is definitely out in the field.
Yeah, one of 50 founders or 52 founders going with Brian Armstrong from Coinbase, trying to stand up for us.
Man, he tweets a lot. I'm trying to get to it. Hold on.
That was a really cool initiative for what it's worth. For any of y'all who weren't tracking that, yeah, Brian Armstrong went up with like 50 founders to DC at the same time that Gary Gensler was answering questions to Congress. I mean, the timing was just chef's kiss. It was incredible.
Yeah, and we don't have a Doodles theme song yet. Rap, any kind of dance or anything. I'd like to just put this out there. I don't have money. But maybe just as a theoretical RFP, if you make music or sing or anything, you should put in a custom proposal to make some kind of Doodles theme song.
We do have Pass the Rainbow.
Yes, we do, from Magic Mullet.
And I'm a Pass the Rainbow holder, so I don't know if that grants me rights to use the song, but
yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking like it would be cool even if we had a TGID theme song, if we had to make the proposal to get someone to make it.
I can't wait for Pharrell to drop our theme song.
Yes.
Just wait on it, TM.
Yo, Tony, I'm having too much fun with the bell. It's a game changer.
Oh, wait, you got the real bell? Oh my gosh. Absurd.
That is so funny. The soundboard IRL.
I have an IRL freaking bell for this. Oh, I'm going to take a video.
The studio.
Awesome.
So yeah, and due to that, I'm gonna play the Nakamigos theme song, one that came out a long time ago that I actually thought went pretty hard.
There's a Nakamigos theme song. That's incredible.
Yeah, while their floor price might be doing whatever, we're not really talking about the numbers, but the rap was good.
Hey, floor price down, but vibes are up.
But the vibes are up. So thank you everybody for coming through to Ink Tank number 10. And for those people that also tuned in to our YouTube live stream, we'll be here same time, same place next week. Hopefully we'll find out about my proposal, Chef Tony's GF Treats. Hopefully Aton will have dropped his proposal, redacted. And I think we should be seeing some other cool stuff. Duels at Complex Con in November.
Hey, and maybe we'll be live on X next week. You never know. Live video, X, it could happen. You never know.
So, see, this is just inspiration. Come on, we need, there's got to be someone that raps in the Doodles community.
Yeah. Naka.